Namaste and thank you. An excellent presentation of Mithai College. I'm going to take a very different mode in my presentation. My specialization is psychology, and I'm going to look more into the processes as to how generally we could go about to do all this, because I understand that on one hand, we have the systems and the resources, and on the other hand, we have people who need to be involved in the system. So I'll be talking more about people. But before that, I would just, when the topic was given to me, I started talking to, my colleagues and in general, also my friends from other colleges. And then I realized a bit of confusion related to variety of terms. I'll just quickly talk about these terms which get interchangeably used. See, digitization is a process, if you look at the technical definition, it is the process by which something is converted into, translated into bits and bytes. That's the computer language. In easy terms, it is something where we scan and make a PDF. Okay, obviously store it in our computer in the hard disk. That's as simple as that. That's the process of digitization. Use of the spreadsheet on say the Google, which we have all started doing it, tits and bits. The pandemic has forced us to do it, sharing it on our Google drive, converting the old cassettes into now the CDs. This is the process of digitization. Now, when we make use of this process of digitization, say as simple as that, I have my Aadhaar card. What do I do? It I scan it. I keep it on my in my mobile folder. Whenever I need it, I can quickly access to it. That's the process of digitization, and NAAC is emphasizing on this process of digitization extensively. That is a process of digitalization where you upload all this information, share it with, maybe it's your stakeholders, maybe it's with your colleagues, so that you will be able to work on it effectively. There is another process of automatization where you are using machines. So, this learning management system, teaching management system, the administrative system. So I have a small app, and on this app, I record my attendance. So when I record the attendance on the app, it gives me the entire log. Has the student attended or not? Itna hi nahi, lekin much more. At what time the student entered the classroom, what time the student left the classroom, the total percentage of attendance and everything, just on a click. The process of automation. And then the use of technology, information technology coming in a big way. And we saw in the presentation for Mithibai how Dr. Nupur Madam has explained, use of all this very effectively. What we need to understand is all these four terms that used interchangeably, NAAC is emphasizing the use of all this. But all this comes with some major challenges. One major challenge which I have observed, now what I'm going to speak is my experience of, making the system work so that all this is possible. After our third cycle in 2017, we also started going in for digitization in a big way. We had already created one record room where we had kept all the documents, where we had, all the teacher service books and, the examination results and variety of important documents. Then we got a scanner. We started digitizing it. But in all this process, what we realized was that to make the systems in place, involvement of everyone is required. One major challenge is not only you have to digitize all this, make PDF, store it on the computer, but also keep the hard copies of it. So paperwork is not reduced. And then many a times it comes as a complaint from the teachers, from the heads, from the concerned parties, ki, ye kya ho raha hai? We are just doubling the work. Then it is the digital organization and it is the file organization, both, which has to go simultaneously, which people are not happy about, because one thing may be found to be redundant and the work appears to be doubled. One major issue that comes up here is a lot of senior teachers, they say they are technologically challenged. Many a times they are happy to use this word ki, इतना ज्यादा तो हमें कुछ समझता नहीं है, हमें आता नहीं है. And then there are junior teachers, which is what we typically call as a floating staff. They are the ad hoc staff. So I don't know, in my department, a teacher who is teaching this year is going to be there next year. And then teaching a teacher a system, giving her the responsibility to, follow the system. And next year for a senior teacher, it is, going about it all the time. This is a work which requires time. It requires patience. Obviously, it requires skill to understand technology, the time management, the organizational and administrative skill, which, probably you have to reach out to your staff, your colleague, and make them learn it. And if they know it, make them use it. Another tough task is to involve the non-teaching staff. And then let me address to you, there is a one big question which is asked: what do I gain from all this? Who is going to get a good grade from NAAC? It's my institution. Ha, theek hai, I'll be proud to say that, oh, my institution is A or A plus. As an individual, what do I gain? When my institution becomes A plus or A, it means my institution is also going to go in for big funds. That means it's more work for the teachers. That is going to bring in much more work for me. So am I gaining from it? And then if my institution gets a B grade, is it going to affect my pay? The answer is no. Is it going to affect, say, my promotion in the caste system? The answer is again no. Okay. So for whom should I do all this work? So all these issues come as very challenging issues where, of course, once, your management decides, your higher authorities decides, and then the system has to percolate. So it is, when we talk about, say, it's like buy, borrow, steal, kuch bhi karo, lekin ye karna hai, and we make people do it. But can we have a little better approach? I was fortunate to have our now retired principal, Dr. Tushar Desai. And then when we decided to, make a major change with the use of technology, we decided to have, few parallel processes. Today in 2020, with the smartphone use, which has increased substantially, some of the problems have reduced. But at that time in 2017, when we were telling our departments that all your papers, you do one event, everything needs to be scanned. So attendance sheet scan karo, aapka ye event ka jo flyer banaya hai, wo scan karo, etc., etc. So where is the scanner? Okay, so you needed to have resources then. And then the institution invested in resources. So it was bringing in scanners. Then we gave laptops to all the departments. We had desktops in the cabins of all the HODs. So for an institution, you may say, Ruparel College, but yes, see, institution needs to invest and do all this. So that was one thing we did immediately. Parallelly, we started having training programs for the staff. So, generally during admission time or generally during certain other times, what we would do it, and what we realized, when you make the teachers take their lectures and come for the training programs, the involvement of the teachers is less. So we try to look at the schedule in such a way that we could have a full day workshop for the teachers. And then when teachers are given folders, when teachers are, it's a breakfast ke saath training hai, it definitely makes a difference in the approach. So that is what we realized. See, in psychology, we always say relationships are never built in a formal conversation. They are typically built on the tea table. So, we decided to use also this strategy to bring people together. Then every department got a departmental page on our website. There were several formal committees तो थे ही, लेकिन we tried to figure out which are the teachers who have some of the skills. So there were some teachers who are very good when it comes to Excel. So these were the teachers who were put into what we call them as a data compilation committee. So all the departments were, they were given access to the IQAC ID folder. So what is data compilation committee people, and they were young teachers. Okay, so they were the ones who would then request the departments to send timely inputs, because ultimately in NAAC, the AQAR, what we have to fill is we have to fill in the data. Okay. Regular updates on the IQ email was requested in a formal way, in informal way. And one good thing which our principal sir did at that time was, we had a series of meetings exclusively with the departments. And then if the department is 1% department, or if the department is 10 people department, everyone was given specific allotted time. Now this resulted in what? All the teachers would come to the principal sir's cabin, and then it makes a difference. That is what we realized, because generally otherwise you go to principal sir when you have some formal work. Junior teachers though many a times don't get an opportunity to enter that room, because they are not the ones who have to go and speak to principal generally. And then even the ad hoc staff, the temporary staff, little teachers who have been there for 2-3 years, everyone got a chance on a personal platform, one-to-one basis, to speak to the principal and we senior teachers. And this interaction gave us a perspective as to what are the issues that are getting faced by the teachers, where technology is becoming very heavy, losing its touch with people, and what can be done to handle it. Now, we adopted a system whereby we would interact with the senior teachers and the HODs. Yes, the formal mode was always there. Again, because there is this NAAC requirement that you should have your meetings, these meeting के proper minutes लिखने हैं, वो minutes scan करके उसका digitization करना है. But what we did was, see, as a senior staff, this is a person who is a very timely person. The work which is done by this person is good. You don't have to really spend time into looking at his files and folders. And but there are some departments, there are some teachers, उनको ज़्यादा reminders देने पड़ते हैं. तो इसका अगर पेपर आना है, तो if it is 10th, he will submit his paper always on 14th. So we knew who were these regularly irregular ones, the late ones. And then we would, informally interact with them to see that the work done by them is not delayed too much. So that informal setting, that emphasis on individual interaction was to a much greater extent. See, our Ruparel College also, it's from junior college to PhD. So, uh, students at all the levels. Again, we have arts, science, commerce, IT, BMS, we have MSc courses, we have PhD courses. So again, in this huge group where 50% teachers are confirmed and 50%, almost 50% teachers are not confirmed staff, it becomes a challenge to build up a team so that everyone will come together. There was this very strong policy decision that we had taken, was we are going to give lot of individual freedom to the departments to decide in what way they are going to manage their work in their department. And those departments who were a small department, one or two people department, we provided them support. Now, there are some departments who always conduct programs. The teachers are very enthusiastic. But again, it came like a policy decision that we are not going to make comparisons between the department. We are not going to tell one department members to go and visit the other department to see कि देखो उन्होंने कितना अच्छा उनका सब organization किया है. We would tell कि okay, this department has organized things, the files have been done in this way. So if you want to take a clue, if you want to take a hint, you could always get that help. But generally, we did not use a boss and junior or a reprimanding kind of an approach in doing so. In this entire process, as an IQAC, initially a coordinator and now as IQAC chairperson, and also being from psychology, there are some important factors which which I would really like to speak about, because see, we human beings are social animals, and therefore building teams always helps in making us all work together. Again, it is not about only work. The teachers should be doing the work, the teachers should be enjoying the work, and the teachers should show some involvement on their own, some initiative on their own to do this work. And this is achieved through clearly shared goals. That is what we kept on doing, through open communication, making everyone participate equally. Yes, we also encourage the junior teachers, the non-confirmed staff, saying that yes, your contribution एक साल का भी हो तो भी important है. We try to use a common language with all. So the teachers and the non-teaching staff, trying to involve the non-teaching staff. One very important thing which our leader principal sir was very clear about, the fact that कि यहाँ egos बीच में नहीं लाना चाहिए. Let's develop professional relationships. So I may not be a good friend with a person in the other department, जो होता ही है. There are issues between heads, there are issues between teachers. मेरे department में भी I don't like speaking to this person as against this other person. But we kept on emphasizing that have a professional approach when it comes to work. Whether you are going to share tea and biscuit on one table, keep it separate. So that is one thing which we emphasized. Another thing in this entire team building process is very important is, when generally a person comes to you, say yes. Say, I understand. Okay? Be positive and don't be argumentative. This helped in bringing the teachers together, teachers getting social support from each other. So a skill and training based approach with developing a relationship approach, that is what has helped us to work as a team. And this entire process of digitization, ICT, or maybe use of automation we were really sailing through in a very effective way. Now, pandemic has really posed its own challenges. We hope to overcome these challenges and again come out with a very student friendly as well as NAAC friendly and teacher work friendly system, so that this entire process of digitization will go in a very effective way. Okay, so thank you.